In year 2005, Hollywood released a movie entitled The Exorcism of Emily Rose, a film that stood out among the horror movie for its chilling tagline, based on true story. This movie was inspired by one of the most famous exorcism incident in the history.
Glory of God.
Anneliese Michel's story is a devastating that blurred the line between mental illness and supernatural belief. Born in 1952 in a small town in West Germany, Anneliese's life took a dark turn at the age of 16 when she experienced her first mysterious episode. She fainted at school. Her friends describe her as being a strange trace-like state. That night, she woke up feeling a heavy weight on her body and she had to wet the bed. This was just the beginning of nightmare that would consume her life. Although nothing happened for months, a year later a similar episode occurred, prompting her concerned parents to seek the medical help. Until a year later, once again a similar incident happened. This time, Anneliese's parents felt that she should be taken to a doctor. The Sun newspaper reported that when the parents went to the doctor, neither the doctor nor the neurologist found anything wrong with Anneliese. But then, about a year later, in February 1970, Anneliese got tuberculosis, and because of that, she had to be admitted to the hospital. This time, when she was lying on the hospital bed, Anneliese said that she saw strange color and heard voices. The doctor said that she had temporal lobe epilepsy, which caused her to have seizures. Now it's also known as neuronal disorder. Although the millions of people in the world suffer from it, but Anneliese's case was quite unique. A few days later, Anneliese started having dangerous hallucinations. She started seeing things that no one else could see. She heard a voice that no one else could hear. She had some voice in her head that kept telling her that she was cursed. Because of this, she went into a depression, but this was just a beginning. In a bizarre turn of events, Anneliese began kneeling in prayer and chanting 600 times a day, causing severe damage of her knee ligaments. She hid under the table for days, barked like a dog, and even consumed a spider, coal and birds. Her parents were not able to understand what was happening. When they could not get any answer from the doctors, they went to a bishop and asked him to perform an exorcism for Anneliese. Exorcism means to take out an evil spirit from someone's body by religious procedures. Believing Anneliese was possessed by demons, her parents sought her help of the bishop to perform an exorcism. The belief was that 6 demons inhabited her: Adolf Hitler, Roman Empire Nero, Judas Iscariot, Cain, Lucifer, and Valentine Fleischmann, a disgraced German priest. During the exorcism, it's claimed that these demons spoke through her. So let's understand this mystery from a scientific perspective in this video. Anneliese Michel's story, although the harrowing, is not an isolated incident. It highlights the severe consequence of misunderstood mental health conditions like dissociative identity disorder, which is DID. So Anneliese's symptoms align with DID, previously also known as multiple personality disorder. DID is a complex mental health condition characterized by the presence of 2 or more distinct personality states or identities with an individual. It can involve gaps in memory, feeling like one of being observed by another presence in the mind, or even exhibiting automatic writing where the person writes without conscious control. There are famous cases like Kim Nobel, who has over 100 distinct personalities, illustrate the complexity of DID. Each alter can have its own name, age, gender, and memory. Such extreme dissociation is often response to traumatic childhood experience. So the therapist can help individuals understand their alter, develop coping mechanisms, and work together integrating their fragmented identities. So as we know, our identities and mind are incredibly complex. Charles Roger, a renowned psychologist, suggests that our self-concept is shaped by our habit, environment, pride, embarrassment, regrets, secrets, fears, desire, and fancy. So a person might appear happy but feel lonely inside, or seems religious while secretly question themselves, their faith. Our mind can compartmentalize these different aspects, and in DID, this compartmentalization becomes extreme. In these cases, there is a main personality seems in the people most of the time, known as host identity or primary identity. This is usually a personality with the name they were born with. However, in some cases, an alter can become host identity. For example, in Cam Nobel case, her alter Patricia became her primary host identity. The remaining personalities are known as secondary personalities or alters. So these alters often form as a response to traumatic event, aiming to protect the person from the future trauma. People often act differently around the friend compared to family. For example, someone might be more relaxed and outgoing with a friend but more reserved with the parent. This change in behavior depends on who they are with is normal. However, for those with the dissociative identity disorder (DID), this change is much more extreme. Not only does their behavior and body language change, but their name, age, and even memory can change too. It's like their mind is divided into different compartments. In DID, there is a usual one main personality called host identity or primary identity. This is the personality that appears most often and is often person's birth name. But sometimes an alternative personality, which is also called alter, can become the main personality. For example, as I said in Kim Nobel's alter, Patricia became her primary identity and took care of her daughter as a Patricia, not Kim. The other personalities are called alters. These alters often form in response to traumatic experience, especially during the childhood. So around 90% of the people with DID have had some form of abuse, emotional, physical, or sexual. When a child can't handle the trauma, their mind creates different personality to cope with it. For example, a girl repeatedly abused by a relative might create a new personality to protect herself. This new personality might take on the role of mother to shield her from the future abuse. Similarly, a child with a serious illness might develop a new personality to manage the fear of dying. So now let's come back to the case of Anneliese Michel. She was suffering from 3 mental illnesses. First, temporal lobe epilepsy, anorexia nervosa, which is the second one. Third, hyper-religious personality disorder. Temporal lobe epilepsy is a chronic disorder that causes unprovoked seizure originating in the temporal lobe of brain part. Anorexia nervosa is a eating disorder characterized by an abnormal low body weight, intense fear of gaining weight, and distorted perception of weight gain. Third one is the hyper-religious personality disorder, although not a formal diagnosis, referred to as excessive preoccupation with the religious ritual and beliefs. As Anneliese was a strong religious background, her upbringing was very strict and devout. When she fell ill, she started having hallucinations due to her epileptic seizure. Because of her strong religious belief, she interpreted these hallucinations as a demonic possession. So because of her strong religious belief, spiritual belief, she thought she was possessed by the devil, which led her to perform bizarre activities like eating coal, spiders, and even a bird. Her parents also believe in these religious spiritual views and took her to a bishop for exorcism. Instead of getting the medical treatment, she was subjected to 67 exorcisms in the 10 months. And during these exorcisms, her condition worsened. She stopped eating and drinking, thinking that this would help in getting rid of demonic possession. But this led to her death from malnutrition and dehydration. At the time of her death, her weight was only 32 kg. In the post-mortem report, it was revealed that she had broken knees and had severe damage for her ligaments. Her death was declared as a negligent homicide, and her parent and the priests involved were convicted. Anneliese Michel's case is not unique. Other mental health conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and psychosis have also been misinterpreted as a demonic possession. And this emphasizes the importance of seeking professional medical help for any unusual behavior or experiences. So early diagnosis and the proper treatment can significantly improve a person's quality of life and prevent tragic consequences. So what we learned from this story? Anneliese's case serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of misinterpreting mental illness through a purely spiritual lens. It highlights the critical importance of seeking professional medical help for mental health issues rather than relying solely on the spiritual intervention. Similar cases have occurred where conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and psychosis have been mistaken for demonic possession. So let's approach the mental health with the empathy and understanding. So people with the mental illness are not to blame for their condition, and the seeking help is a sign of strength. By creating open conversation and removing the stigma surrounding mental health, we can ensure that tragedy like the Anneliese Michel's never happen again. So thank you for the watching and see you in the next video.